Hello and welcome to the collapse experiment. This may be a little wonky because camera angles have changed. Figured there was more to see on this side as opposed to that side. So, getting to our article, student loan borrowers will see Social Security checks. Tax refunds disappear over defaulted debt, Trump administration says. Who needs the corn hub when you have the Trump administration? Because seeing this article got me excited. Millions of borrowers are behind on their student loans following the end of the pandemic pause and changes to the loan system. Now, for years, I have known people with student loan debt, and they're just like, just keep defaulting. And I'm like, I know how much they make. I see them make stupid purchases. I see time go by, and I'm like, so when exactly are you planning on paying back this money that you borrowed? Because it doesn't appear like you ever think that has to be done. Well, I think the chickens come home to roost, y'all. And some of the people I'm referring to voted for the current administration. So I couldn't be happier. Because this is exactly what I voted for, and some people just don't bother to think ahead. The Donald administration is turning on some of the harshest consequences for falling behind on student loans. Starting on May 5th, the government is restarting debt collection on defaulted student loans. As part of its efforts, the Department of Education is restarting the process that allows for borrowers who are in default on their student loans to have their Social Security benefits and tax refunds offset to repay the debt. The U.S. Education Department announced Monday. Early this summer, the government will also begin garnishing wages to repay defaulted student loans. Yes, this will mark the first time in 5 years since the collection system was paused as part of the pandemic era freeze on student loan payments. I, to this day, don't understand. Why is it everybody who got a handout is somebody who really didn't need a handout? That borrowers have faced these consequences for defaulting on student loans, defined as not making a payment on their debt in more than 270 days. And some of the people I know, it was years. The announcement comes amid data indicating a significant portion of student loan borrowers are struggling to make payments on their debt. No, they live outside their means, they're irresponsible, and clearly the education that they took this loan to get didn't pay off in educating them. Nearly 10 million borrowers are at risk of experiencing credit score drop, as they should, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. In previewing the announcement for reporters, senior education department officials said that this dynamic could put the health of the student loan portfolio at risk. Really? Adding that it is headed towards a fiscal cliff if we don't start collections. That I agree with. There is absolutely no reason that these people, who was it? I think it was Raymond, if you haven't been to Raymond's channel, check it out. But some chick that is $250,000 in debt, has a law degree, and was doing the whole I'll just have the government pay it off by doing this pro bono work. And then the whole program got scrapped 2 years before it would have covered her student loan debt. Meanwhile, she's making buco bucks doing a whole bunch of other stuff, has the money. She has the money to pay it off. Now she's like, now I got to pay it. The current administration believes that the American taxpayers can no longer serve as a collateral for student loans. Fucking A. Student loan debt must be paid back. Still, borrowers are facing many challenges. Yeah, because they're fucking stupid. Some financial, some logistical, that are making it difficult for them to make payments on their loans. They're irresponsible. That's all there is to it. I know a guy, and I've told this story before, became a pharmacist, had $100,000 in student loan debt when he graduated, stayed in the house that he shared with 4 or 5 other dudes, had his room, worked as a pharmacist, making $100+ an hour as a pharmacist for 2 years. And guess what? All the money that he made as a pharmacist with his degree that cost him $100,000, he paid off in the first 2 years after he graduated because he didn't buy a house, he didn't get married, didn't get a new car, didn't get all the furnishings for the new house, didn't get all the cable TV, the new fancy computer, the updated iPhone, all the stupid shit that all these college graduates do as soon as they graduate, getting into more debt outside of their student loan debt as soon as they step out of college. This guy didn't do. Why the majority of people can't even fucking comprehend to do something like that after they graduate. If they're so goddamn smart, I don't know. But even some borrowers who can afford monthly payments are struggling to make them due to a combination of changing policy, court challenges. What the fuck does that have to do if they're already making payments? Paperwork hurdles and a lack of reliable information about their options. For one, the pandemic era pause. You didn't have to pause during the pandemic. If you could have still been making your payments. And the many changes in student loan policy that have come over the last several years have meant many borrowers have struggled to stay on top of their options. Options. You have 2 options. Pay or don't pay. And deferment was something that constantly came up with these people, the ones that I knew. In addition, roughly 8 million borrowers are in limbo as courts weigh the future of a Biden-era repayment plan. 8 million people are just not wanting to pay on their student loans. Right now, the program known as SAVE for who? Is blocked at least temporarily, and the borrowers who enrolled in it are in a forbearance that won't end until the courts determine the final status of the plan. Biden is no longer in office, so you can just kiss that goodbye. Meanwhile, the litigation has impacted borrowers' access to their affordable plans that fall under the category of income-driven repayment. The Trump administration only recently put the online application back up for these plans. The Education Department officially told reporters that they'll begin processing these applications in early May. Currently, they have a backlog of 1.8 million applicants. Meanwhile, cuts to the Education Department have borrowers and advocates worried about the ability of the system to handle their complaints. Or you could just pay. And of borrowers to get accurate information about their loans, like the balance, the monthly payment. I don't see how it's any different from your stupid credit cards, your mortgage, any other thing that you pay on. As part of the restart of the collection system, the officials said that the department would reach out to borrowers to help them understand their options. They would start with those in default and then move to those who are delinquent. In addition, they will send messages to those in repayment thinking, thanking them for paying their loans and encouraging them to sign up for auto pay if they haven't already. It should be part of your monthly budget. Borrowers in default do have options to make their loans current and avoid the harsh consequences of the system. Harsh consequences of the system? They can rehabilitate their loans and make a series of affordable payments to cure their default, or they can consolidate out of default and enter into an income-driven repayment plan. Borrowers can contact the education department's default resolution group to learn more. And of course, there's a link here. Student loan borrowers have options to stay current on their debt, but once they go into default, the government has extraordinary collection powers, typically unavailable to commercial loan providers without a court order. Ooh, goody gumdrops. The feds can take Social Security benefits and tax refunds and garnish wages to repay a defaulted student loan. Toward the end of the Biden administration, officials took steps to help borrowers access repayment options and soften the blow of default, including by protecting more of a borrower's Social Security check from offsets. Again, just fucking pay your bill. See, I had somebody talking to me the other day about, like, what is it with these guys that just don't pay their child support? I'm just like, how is that any different from anybody else not paying their debts? Like, what is so spectacular? What is so extraordinary about this thing compared to this thing? Like, in my mind, you have a debt, you pay the debt, regardless of where it came from, what it's for. A debt is a debt. But no, like, for some reason, people have it in their heads that they don't have to pay back their student loan debt. And then other people stick up for them. Like, well, it's not really their fault. They should have known better. Like, I didn't take out any student loans when I was going to college. And when I stopped going to college, I didn't have anything to pay back. Did not make any sense to me. Previously, the government had to leave a borrower with at least $275 a month in Social Security benefits. The Biden administration raised that threshold to $1,800 a month. It's unclear if the Trump administration will maintain that policy. It didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. I'm sorry, but if you are at the point where you're collecting Social Security and you failed to pay back your student loans, what the did you think was going to happen? In January, the Biden administration laid out a timeline for when borrowers would start to experience the consequences of default. It said that the earliest borrowers would see money taken through offset would be July of 2025, and the earliest they could have their wages garnished would be October. Y'all better start spending your money now. In addition to calling on borrowers to make payments on their loans, the Trump administration appeared to warn schools that they could face consequences if their students fall behind. The education department's officials said the agency would be bringing back some of the systems that the government used to hold schools accountable for whether their former students are successfully repaying their debt. Stop producing a bunch of freeloading dumbasses. We want to remind them of their obligations, the official said. Yeah. Oh my God. Finally. This is what happens when Dad comes home. So what are your thoughts? Do you think this is good? Are these people obligated to pay back a loan that they took out and then decided to default on for years? Yeah, I think so. I'm sure I'm going to get some nasty comments. I don't really give a shit. Pay back your fucking debts. Don't be a deadbeat. Keep on typing.